Good morning, ladies.
Morning.
Today
Good
we're gonna
morning.
we're gonna have a little powwow with Ken. I'm so excited. So Ken, you are like the jack of all trades when it comes to everything virtual, I've decided, because you do it all, right? Or
Ex-
almost.
Exactly. Almost.
Yeah, or if you're not currently doing it, you've done it at some point, right?
Yes.
And that kind of makes you seem like, oh gosh, she must be a nerd. And then you read a little more into your bio and you're like, she's a DJ. What? How could she be a DJ and a nerd, a tech nerd? So you must be the best, most well-rounded person that I know.
I guess it comes with like living in different country, meeting different people, and I'm always the kind of person that I want to learn. So if there's something that interests me, I'll go and learn it, and I'll try to do my best and be the best of what I do. So I guess and I really love something creative, and I always find anything creative, whether it's business, whether it's DJing, whether it's art. I think there's always something like creative thinking in those aspects.
Right. And I think so they're all tied together with creative thinking, but then also, like you said, you're networking. You're always meeting people, always meeting new people. And when you have such a diverse background or skill set, then you're able to integrate different people into different parts of what you do because you have so much diversity. It's just amazing. Welcome, Nagam. Good to see you.
Yeah, I tried. I have a lot of networking that I join, your networking and networking with Lynn every Friday my time. But sometimes I cannot join because I have too much, I guess.
Yes.
Like I look at the time and oh, I'm working at that time, but I tried.
Oh, and let's give Mary a plug. And Kay, I think I see you in Women in Alignment, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so their networking is great also. We enjoy going there every week. All righty, Ken, why don't you just dive right in? I'd love to know if you could start with like your history. What brought you here to this
Um,
part of where you are in your journey?
so I actually started in IT back in the Philippines. So I live right now in Cambodia and specifically in web design and graphic design. So then I start looking work to work remotely because I didn't like working in the office or like do the commute because in Manila the traffic is really, really bad. It's like takes me 3 hours to go to my work. So it's like I don't want to do this every day. So then I find work online. So I started freelancing, like doing web design. So I did web design for, well, for DJs, for NGOs, for anybody that needs the design back then. And then, so then I start, when I moved here in Cambodia, I found a teaching job. So I was teaching web design and graphic design to both kids and adults. And then when COVID happened, I transitioned to virtual assistant, specifically tech and executive virtual assistant. It was a startup company. So basically, I was handling everything. So it's like all around and not just a virtual assistant. I was doing a lot because it's a startup in a small company. And then after that, I was on and off with working remotely, and now I'm actually working with Queen as her project manager. So yeah, so I started with that blend. I think that's my sweet spot, the creativity, the tech, and then streamlining system. So and I think I find my sweet spot in that thing because I can apply what I'm good at and my skill set and my experience in those three. So right now I'm doing virtual assistant, I'm doing online business manager or project management, and I'm doing social media graphics. So in those three, I can apply those. And that's why I like conversation like this because I think when you understand the right support to bring to your business, you can make a change and scale your business with that.
I would have to agree. So I'm gonna I know you said this is your sweet spot, and I'm not sure if you mean that this is your favorite or this is like what you're excelling at right now. So, looking back at all the different things and all the different experiences you've had, which one is your number one favorite? And number two, which one is a balance of profitable and most favorite?
I think my most favorite, I'll be really honest, is when it comes to graphics. I like designing, I like building. And then my number two favorite will be like streamlining processes because I like to think step by step, okay, how this one going to from A to B and then to C. And then last is the virtual assistant. Although I have a very technical side when it comes to, I'm very tech savvy, but um, I did not offer and I don't like to do more of web design anymore because it gives me so much, there's always something going wrong. So it's like, it kind of annoys me, like every time I do something and update something on a website, then something else goes wrong. So it's like, and me, I'm a little bit perfectionist person, so I like to do something and it works, right? And not like, oh, what is going on? So that part, I can put it in a very list of my priorities or my least favorite.
Very good. Very good. All righty. Well, let's just dive in. What do you have to share with us today?
Okay, like I want to share how businesses can scale and actually, first of all, to understand what's the difference between a virtual assistant, a social media manager, and an online business manager or a project manager. Because I think a lot of businesses got stuck in or don't know who to hire, and oftentimes they hired the wrong, I'm not saying wrong person, but wrong role for that specific. Like sometimes they would hire virtual assistant when they really need is social media manager. So I think sometimes these three bleeds to each other, but um, there's a specific role that these three can really work on your business if you know how which one to hire for your needs. So
Yeah,
yes,
go ahead.
so I want to explain first what's the difference between the three. So the virtual assistant, um, those are the ones like your personal assistant or your right hand man or woman. So they are the one that do the admin, the technical and executive support for your business. That includes like scheduling emails, customer service, anything that's like more on the back end of your business. And how they help your business virtual assistant is they free you up from repetitive tasks so you can focus on the big picture or scaling your business. So those are the virtual assistant job and role. When it comes to social media manager, the social media manager, what they actually do is like content creation, scheduling engagements, and your social media posts, your analytics for your social media, whether that's LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever you can think of, or YouTube. When it comes to social media, that's the role of social media manager, and how they help your business is they grow your online presence and build a strong brand or have more visibility for your business. So then when it comes to online business manager, or sometimes we call them project managers, these are the people that work with your system, your operation, your team management, automations, and how they help your business is they organize and optimize your entire business so everything runs smoothly and that you can delegate whether to your social media manager, to your virtual assistant, or anything else that you have, like for example, if you do subcontractor, like if you have web developers. So this OBM or project managers are the one handling all of this. So those are the difference between the three. And sometimes um, business owners have to decide whether they need virtual assistant, social media manager, or OBMs or project managers.
That's interesting. I've never heard it broken down, and that helps actually. That is very helpful. Um, does anybody have any questions? Or did everybody already know this? No questions. Okay, go ahead.
Oh,
Actually, Jeannie does.
Yeah. Uh, I had the question. I wrote down part of the question. It was about the social media manager. So, does the social, like, if you create your content yourself mostly, um, then maybe the social media manager, though, can just like plan the posts and maybe extrapolate like different kinds of posts from things and then kind of schedule them to get your presence out. Is that kind of what you mean by the social media manager person?
Um, it's part of their role, but that's not only what they do. So sometimes it really depends on what they offer. So sometimes they do this strategy for your social media as well.
Mm.
So what to post, they to make sure that your post goes with your brand voice or your that goes aligned with your brand or what you're trying to what clients you're trying to reach. So they're not just scheduling, like sometimes, even though, for example, even though you already have contents, they can repurpose those contents or suggest, like, okay, this one works better because it aligns with your
Mhm.
brand or your target clientele.
Okay, yeah,
Okay, and so
thank
can
you.
they, do they also like if they, could I give them like rough draft stuff and they can go in and pull out the key ideas and create it from that? Or do they prefer to just do it all themselves?
Again depends on the client and the social media manager. So personally for me, I had clients before that I work with, they already have their own what to post and what they want to post on their social media. So all I do is design them, make sure that it's aligned and make a little bit of edits, but stayed on their content. And sometimes they would tell you, okay, they will just give you an idea. I want something that will be like educational, that people will know what I do. Or I want something promotional, like I want you to create a post that promote my business, something like that. Or sometimes people will say, I want a post that will get engagement. So it's more like, when you share fun facts about your business or like what do you call it? I did this one before, like what kind of entrepreneur are you? And then you have those different, are you this tech savvy? Are you this perfectionist? Are you, like this kind of things that will get engagement from people or from your followers, or like at least will make your profile more visible because you get a lot of comments and shares for that.
That's good to know. Good, good, good. Okay. What's next?
Um, Okay, just to break down these three, basically VA is your assistant handling the day-to-day admin, tech, or customer service for your business. And social media manager could be your marketing team or getting your brand in front of the right audience. And then the OBM or your project manager is your partner for business strategies and making sure everything runs smoothly with your business. So those are like the three breakdowns, and to make it easier for people to understand what's the difference between the three.
Can you tell me the VA again?
Oh, the VA is like the one that handling your day-to-day tasks and basically your assistant.
Okay, I'm taking notes. Thank you.
I have another quick question, if that's all right. So, to what extent, and this probably depends on the social media manager, but to what extent are they a marketing expert or, knows the ins and outs of online marketing?
So there are different kind of social media manager. To what extent, I cannot tell because um, I know a lot of virtual assistant, but not a lot of social media managers. But sometimes they would offer you strategy from, for example, if you don't have your social media yet, like for example, you don't have Facebook or you don't have LinkedIn or you don't have Instagram page for your business. So basically, they will do all from the ground up if they offer that services. I know some doesn't offer that. I know some social media managers, what they do is they just do the content like and schedule it for the whole month or for the quarterly, depending on what's their negotiation between the client and the social media managers. So to what extent, I think it depends on what they offer.
Okay, so Ken, if I can interject, you have a wide knowledge of businesses and we're all businesswomen here. Which position do you think is the most important? If you had to
Um,
start with one, what's going to be the most important to your progress moving forward?
I would say that there's not one that are most important because those three are very important to every business, but it depends on which level your business is. So what I mean is like are you um, are you just starting? or are you already in the mid-level, or are you ready to scale and have a lot of team in your business? So for example, if you're like one person company or one person business and you're just starting, you have no business page, you have no website or something like this, then you are something that, because you're alone and then you need help with day-to-day, like emailing your clients, or like working with you with some tasks that are repetitive and taking your time instead of focusing and getting more clients, then you might need a VA. So there's not one thing that those not like VA or social media manager or OBM is more important than the other. It really depends on what your business needs and what's your level of business right now. So if you need more time in your day-to-day, then you start with a VA to hire. If you need a better online visibility and engagement because everything is set up with your day-to-day tasks, then you hire a social media manager. And then if you need help managing operations and ready to scale, then you bring in the OBM. So it really depends on what your business needs. So if you spend more time on admin than actual revenue generating tasks, then that's the VA that you need to have. If your social media is inconsistent or non-existent, then that's the social media manager. And if you feel your business is running you instead the other way around, so then that's the OBM that you need.
Okay, very good. All right. I think that's all the questions for now. Do you have anything else?
I hope I'm explaining this properly and not confusing.
I think you are. Okay, you can go ahead, Ken. I think we got questions.
Like I mentioned earlier, that many business owners make mistakes on hiring the wrong person, not the wrong person, because I don't want to say wrong person. I'm like saying like the wrong role for what their business need. So sometimes they will hire a VA, but what they really need is an OBM, right? So they're ready to scale, but because they don't know the difference between the two, so they're like, oh, I just want to hire a virtual assistant. And then it ends up that it's actually not a virtual assistant that they need because everything is already delegated. So all they need is like to streamline their processes, and what they need is a online business manager. So it's important also to make sure that your, what do you call it, your what you need and the person that you're hiring is aligned. Yes, Colleen.
Okay, so I have two questions on this. I'm so glad you brought up hiring. My first question is this: is it better to go with somebody that says they do one of these things as opposed to somebody who says, oh, we do it all? Because I find there's a lot of companies that are like, oh, we can do it all. But is that really going to be a better way to go, or is that more of getting a generic answer, right?
Um, hmm. Actually, that's a good question because I do it all. I do all those three. So that's a really good question. But I think, like I said, sometimes these roles bleed with each other. So it really depends. Like, uh, what do you really need? Like, I think you have to be clear to communicate when you're interviewing someone or you're trying to hire someone, if that's what you really need. Like, that's a really hard question to answer too, because like I do it all. Like I cannot
Right.
really like advise people just to say, oh, I just want a virtual assistant, or like I don't want to hire someone who do it all because I want them to focus on this one. Yes, Queen.
Maybe the clarity, I guess what you're saying, the clarity is in the interview and being specific with exactly what we need. And I guess that's really good thing that we're here so that we can understand what we need.
Exactly.
Okay. And then my next question is, where do we hire these people? I mean, clearly we could hire you. We know this, and you're going to be our first person to go to. But if I didn't know Ken, just where would I find you? Where would I have found you? Would I have gone to Fiverr? Would I have asked around, or is there where would I go to? Some of us just don't even know where to go to find that.
That's a good question, Colleen. So where Queen found me is actually I went through an agency through her to work with her. So a lot of virtual assistant, especially the one in the Philippines. I'm not sure about the others, but we have virtual assistant agencies. And for me, I do it differently. I just don't focus on the virtual assistant because I take on project base as well. I don't focus on the virtual assistant agencies. but if I got one, why not? And like Queen, we were so aligned that I want to work with her. And so I think a lot of virtual assistants in the Philippines specifically, they do on Facebook and like you said, Fiverr and Upwork. But I don't do Fiverr and Upwork because there's a lot of competition, and not only there's a lot of competition, the compensation in those websites are not really aligned of what I'm trying to do. So it's like it's either really, really low, and then there's somebody else that will offer even lower than what you're offering. So it's a lot of competition. And anyway, I don't like those websites, the
And
Fiverr and
so
the Upwork.
do you find that on those websites, are you getting what you paid for, or are you getting more than what you paid for?
I
I mean, is
never
the
really
quality
tried those websites.
matching the price, or does it not really matter?
Um, I know some people that hired from Upwork and the quality is really good. So I think really by luck or depends on the person or the visual assistant that you hire. I know a lot of them are like have good portfolios if you look at their portfolios, and I know some business owners that hire from those and they have really good experience, but there are other two that have bad experiences because the quality is just not there. But I'm not saying that virtual assistants should not do that. I think it depends on what their strategy in finding clients.
Well, I don't like the one, just for note, if any of these people are listening, I don't like the virtual assistants that slide into my DMs.
I don't do cold DMs as well. I always say like in the networking when we talk about this that I don't think that I'm good in selling myself. Like I'm not a salesperson. So the cold DMs is like a little bit icky to me.
Well, I think like the one that slid in my DMs this morning was clearly has their bot tied to it, because they slid in and said, "Hello, Colleen." And then the next thing is, "How are you today?" And then before I could even respond, "We looked at your profile and found this link. We can do this for you." I'm like, "Do what?" "We can do this for your link." I'm like, "Do what for my link?" I said it like 4 times. I'm like, block, block, block. It's just not, I think there's an art to doing that, and very few people that I've met can slide into the DMs cold and do well with it.
Yeah, I think there's a way to do it properly and better and to connect with
Right,
you and the business owner, but I cannot give advice on that because I don't do that. So I
right.
cannot give advice on something I don't do or recommend something that I don't do.
So Ken, take us inside your process, if you don't mind. If we were to reach out to you and wanted to work with you, what does that look like? Like, say that I just watched this video, maybe I watched the replay and I'm like, "Hey, she sounds really interesting. Maybe I could work with her. I got a good vibe with her." And so then I hop in your DMs. I'm like, "Hey, Ken, I saw you on the replay of Coffee Chat." How does that go from there? Tell me.
So you can contact me on my social media because that's my main way, like LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, and I have a website where I put my copy chats. And I also join a lot of networking. So either you can connect me with there, and then I have free coffee chat for 30 minutes that we can talk all about business. There's no selling. It's just that to know each other, or am I what you're looking for, or are we aligned, or is it a good fit?
And then where does it go from there? So let's say that I do that with you and we decide, yeah, I think we'll do this. Then what's the next step? What could we expect when working with you?
I have 4 easy process for that. So what I do is after that, like the discovery call, or what I call like discovery call, right? And then when we agree that we wanted to work together and it's aligned and it's what I do, and like we're a perfect or not a perfect fit because we don't know each other that much yet. So then I would create like an agreement if I'm doing it alone. But for example, if I'm under agency, they're the one who handling that, right? But if I'm doing it alone, like for project-based clients, is I would create an agreement and like based on our discussion, create a tailored proposal and then let you review it and then agreed on that. And then I will do onboarding. With that task and agreement part, like everything that you need is all detailed there. Like if you don't have a system, then I would recommend system for you, like CRM or project management tools if you don't have yet. If you have, then good, we can like skip that. And then after that, when we agree with everything on that task and agreement proposal, we can do the onboarding and setups. So we will set up everything that you need on your business. And after setting up, then the task and execution and progress updates. And then we can decide, okay, do we still want to work together or not? You know, like, do you still need my services, or like you get what you wanted or something like that? Like, you know, because I try to always connect with my previous clients as much as possible, even though I don't work with them anymore, because maybe they might need my services in the future. So at least they can always contact me.
Sure. Or maybe they might refer you. Speaking of
Exactly.
which, Quinn, I know you're just a guest here. Is it okay if I put you on the spot?
100% do it.
Okay, good. Could you please just tell us a little bit about your experience in working with Ken, what her strong points are and what you like most, and who you think she would best serve?
Absolutely. So just a little bit about me and my background, just so you know why I was looking for someone like Ken, and ideally it was Ken, is that I am a fractional CMO. So I run a digital marketing agency and brand strategy. So I have a lot of different clients ranging from like commercial real estate to nonprofits to, just women-owned businesses. And I'm in North Carolina, in the Triangle region of North Carolina, so Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill. And so I've been running my business full time for just over a year. I had it as a side hustle for, a few years prior to that. And so after doing my business for the year, I started to realize, okay, there's a lot of things that I'm doing like that are pulling my focus from being able to bring in more revenue. And so a lot of the things that Ken spoke to, like the admin level work, like going after clients for invoicing or sending out scopes of work. And then also, I'm a storyteller, so I can write content for days, but when it comes to being creative and like graphic design, that is not my strong suit at all. So I got really specific with what my needs were for what I wanted to have with my virtual assistant, my project manager, whatever that may be. And literally, Ken does everything that I don't. So, like, we just did a cool brand strategy for one of our clients, and I wrote all the content, and then I gave it to Ken, and she turned it into this beautiful brand book for our client. And so she brought it to life. So again, that would have taken me weeks to do, whereas it takes Ken, 1 day or 2 days once we go back and forth. So it's really key to know specifically what you want. It's on you to know what you need for your business. So then that way you can go out, and I recommend using an agency so that you can work with them and give them specific details, like create your own job title. And then it's on them, that staffing agency, to find the right connections for you. And then the one that I utilize gave me 4 people to interview, actually, to choose from. And then I did that. So you can find the best fit for you.
And so you are saying that she is absolutely worth what you're paying her then?
100%, way more.
Okay, good. Because I know that there's such a big difference, and I would never question whether Ken is worth it because I know Ken personally, but
Yeah.
I just see that there's such a difference. I mean, I get people sliding in my DMs all the time, want to be my VA for $6 an hour, $3 an hour. And so,
Yeah.
and clearly that
Again,
makes me want to run.
yeah, it's on you to like do your due diligence and stuff for sure. And then to check reviews and that kind of thing. And I don't know. I understand like the use of like Fiverr and things for like quick things, like even creating my logo. I just needed something. And so I used Fiverr very quickly. But now that I'm more of an established, legitimate business, like, Ken is helping me to look the part. And so, yeah, it's really
And so
helpful.
she's more of a high-end employee partner than somebody that you'd hire just a day worker.
Absolutely. That's how I view it. I mean, that's why in my business, she's a project manager. In the eyes of the staffing agency, they still refer to her as a virtual assistant. Granted, she's a high level because she has the IT background, the creative background, and everything. However, like for my business, she's project manager. Like she's doing a lot of things. And then our hope is that as my business continues to grow, that we can add to the team So the admin level things that Ken is doing, we can hire a new person to do that so that she can be managing clients and move up in that business. I also say that I was working with a friend in the US, also in North Carolina, who I worked with at an ad agency. And I was paying her slightly less than what I'm paying Ken for my monthly salary. And she was only working on one of my clients. Whereas Ken, like, because it's outside of the US, I'm able to utilize Ken for my whole book of business. And so thinking about that, when you're able to utilize these staffing agencies that utilize it's helpful because it's still helping Ken and growing, because it's more than what I'm assuming would be able to make, in the country she's living in. But for me, it's less of an expense because you think about the cost of living here in the US, and it's
Right.
so much higher and it continues to get higher. But you're getting like very high quality people. Like Ken is an incredibly intelligent woman. And it's like, and I'm not trying to be ugly by any means. I'm just trying to give like an analogy. Like the level of service and like the quality that you're getting out of Ken or people like Ken would be like Harvard level, like high level thinking people here in the US, but you're not
Right.
paying as much. So that's what I mean with you get what you pay for sure.
Very good. And I would agree. And I think that, the diversity that Ken brings to her business is also so helpful. But I think that is one of the biggest things that's overlooked. People come in, they want a VA, they go in and look at what she's done as a VA instead of going in and looking at the entire portfolio, instead of going into all of her social media and literally just auditing it and saying, who is she really? Like, who is she? Is she a mom? Is she an artist? Is she a DJ? Is she because when you combine all these things that are actually life skills and they make you who you are as a person, it makes you bring something so much richer to the table and to the people that you're working with. Right? Ken, what else? Let's see. You were going to tell us how to delegate tasks effectively and reclaim our time.
Yes, first of all, thank you, Queen, for the kind words. And thank you also, Colleen, for adding to that. And yeah, so how to delegate tasks effectively, whether you hire your VA, your social media manager, or your online business manager. So the first step to that is like to identify what to delegate. So you write down everything. I have a little bit of tip for that for somebody who don't know how yet to delegate properly. Is like when you look at your business, you write down what you do in a week. Like, okay, I do this every week. These are the repetitive tasks I do every week. So you write it down. So let's say, for example, you're hiring a VA on this scenario, right? So you write down what tasks you do in a week and what tasks are repetitive in those weeks. And then you highlight the tasks that don't require your expertise when it comes to hiring when you have a VA, right? And tasks that drain your energy and takes too much time for you to focus on other things. So you write it down, and then those are the things that you can delegate to your VA. So example for those are like inbox management, appointment scheduling, data entry, or automations. Like you just don't have time for this, right? You just want it done. So then you can focus on building something bigger or focusing on finding or getting revenue more for your business. So the back end of your business will be handled by your VA. And then the step 2 is to create simple process. So first of all, communication is a big part when you hire somebody, whether that's VA, that's social media manager, or project manager. Like you have to communicate to each other. If you don't communicate to each other, it will be chaos. Like it will be so messy because first of all, for example, when you hire a VA, they need prompts, okay? So this is what VA and OBM differs. Like VA, you need to assign them the task. They need to know what they're gonna do. When the OBM, because what they focus is streamlining the process, they can, okay, this is what I needed to do, and then I will do this, right? They're more into like what do you call it? Like the more
Independent,
yeah, more independent, but
self-motivated.
well, both can be motivated, but you know what I'm saying is like when it comes to VA, you need to give them prompts on what to do because that's what they actually do is to do what you direct them to do. When it comes to OVA, OBM or project manager, they're already in the higher level, so they kind of know exactly what to do and just look, okay, this is what I need to do this time, right? So create a simple process with that and communication. So simple process could be if you use CRM is to put the task assign it to them, or some people what they do is they record Loom videos or videos on what they wanted to do and share documents with you. So to have really a clear communication between the two of you, and to also, I would suggest what do you call it? It's not really micromanaging, but because I had experience before with people that are micromanaging, like they send you a task and then right away they ask you, where are you on the task? Just give me a second. Can I work on the task first before you ask me where I am? So I think like and I know some people, I'm not saying it's bad because I understand them in a way that maybe they are anxious people and they just want to do it properly or something like that and want to know where you are. Not necessarily that they're bad people for micromanaging, but I would say micromanaging is really bad for business. And yeah, so to have like very clear communication between you and simple process how you can share these delegations. And then of course the trust with your VA or social media manager because you trust them to do that what you assign to them is they're gonna do. And if there's something needed to be updated or reviewed, then what I'm saying is you trust their skill because you hire them and you already know that they have portfolio, there is this skills that you're looking for and they have that. So trust is also important. And like maybe I would say to let go of perfectionism, although that applies to me too because I'm also a perfectionist, that sometimes your team might not do or exactly how you want it, but then that can always be fixed, right?
Okay, so two things you said that really stood out to me. Thank you to my mother for these. One was that the things that don't require your personal attention, you can let go. So I have 4 kids and my middle 2 are 10 months apart. And so that was a hot mess. Like it was really hard when they were little. And feeling like I had to keep the house clean and the clothes clean and the babies in diapers and just all of it was a lot. And my mom said to me, look, hire out things. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm their mom. I should do it. She said, no, you need to do the things that matter most, where they're going to remember your personal touch. She said, if you care that your meatloaf is made a specific way, then leave a recipe. But anybody can make the meatloaf. Your children, when they're ripping your clothes out of the drawer to put them on, they don't care who folded them. Go to the park with your kids. Sit down and read with your kids. Do the hands-on things with your kids that actually matter and are memorable for them, right? And so I totally agree with that about making sure you do the things that matter the most and need your personal attention. And then the next one was letting go of professionalism and focusing on the end result, because I remember trying to teach my oldest son to sweep the floor, and I always swept square by square the tiles, right? And I tried to get him to do that, and he didn't. He was just like a little dang tornado going everywhere. And my mom said, stop worrying about how he does it. Give him the time to do it and come back and check and see if it's been swept. You don't need to watch him do it. Just let it go. And if you come back and it's swept good, then you're good. If not, then explain what's not and give him another shot to try to do it the way you want him. So I agree with that also, is that we need to focus on the end result. And I think that the quality of person that you're dealing with, and I've been employing people for 35 years, and I think that the quality of person you're dealing with way supersedes you having to go in and make little adjustments, you know? But I worry a little bit about the level of trust. Like, is it different online, how quickly you get to the level of trust? And what I mean by that is, having had 8 brick and mortar businesses and countless employees, there were some that there just becomes a stage where you know that you can walk out the door and they're going to treat that business as if it's their own and do really well with it, right? And do you get to that level when you're dealing with VAs and OBMs and social media managers, or is it totally different?
I think, well, I hope Quinn trusts me. I think she does because she let me, like when she said like the brand strategy, she just tell me to do it and I do it and then I present it to her or do you need a review or like update, and then tweak it a little bit. But yeah, the level of trust, I think it really depends if you are aligned and fit to work together. Because I also had experience where after 1 week I quit. Because it's just not aligned and they don't trust me. They wouldn't give me the logins. They wouldn't give me access to, and I keep on asking repeatedly for the access because I need the access to do my job. So when it comes to that, like you handle very important details like clients' accounts, like information that shouldn't be um for the public and just between the two of you. So trust is really important when it comes to hiring a VA or social media manager or OBM because if you don't trust somebody you hire, then how can you delegate them tasks and how can they do their tasks properly? Like they need
Right.
access to your system, like they need access to your emails, they need access to your social media handling, like all these kind of things. I think when you do the discovery call or interview with whoever you're hiring, I think you will know if you can trust this person or not. I think your intuition is telling you. I mean, intuition is not always right, but I think you can basically have a basic judgment of, okay, is this person honest or have integrity when it comes to work or not?
You know what, Ken, I just love this. And I would just like to say that I would love it if, and you clearly don't need to happify me, but I would love it if you would create a document, maybe as a lead magnet, like all the things to ask when you're interviewing somebody to be your VA. Or just because I
Oh,
don't know
that's
what
a
to
really
ask.
good idea,
I
Colleen.
really don't know what to ask. And I'm scared to death to hire somebody because I've had, actually, I've had 4 different coaches in the past 2 years that have used my content on their stuff. And that's so unethical. And I don't know if I'm just a magnet for that. I like to think I'm not, but things I would never do, right? And I would never share private information. There's just a level of ethics that comes with being a business owner, I think. But in a day and age when everybody can easily be a business owner online, that bar's been lowered. And it's a lot more of a, hey, it's a dog eat dog world. If I have to take your email addresses and share them with other people, I will, kind of thing, And so it's just interesting. I think we need to, I would love some guidance on that, maybe in the form of a lead magnet. I don't know.
Sure, Colleen, we can work that out for you and to help you as well.
And I see that Quinn has some input.
Yeah, I was just going to share, like, I definitely understand your trepidations about giving out personal information or what you think is personal information. And one thing is to think through, like, again, is I'm using a specific staffing agency. And so that is what takes on the risk. So even though that you're adding, maybe a little bit more, investment into your virtual assistant, your project manager, whoever you're trying to hire, you're also paying for that peace of mind. So like these are like this company vetted Ken and the others that I interviewed before I even was like spoke to them.
I
And then
love that.
what I'm paying for is the security. So if for some reason Ken just decided to like take all my login information and run off. Like I have a specific staffing company that I signed an agreement with that they are responsible, so that you're paying for that risk
And
again.
what's the recourse on that? If you were in that situation, heaven forbid, what's the recourse on that?
I mean, they would have to compensate me or what have you. Like there's like a legal contract in place and stuff. And you can also do that, on your own, like when you're working directly, but that's the peace of mind that I appreciate of knowing that I'm working with that direct agency, which is why I understand you feeling the ick or what have you when people slide into your DMs. I get those emails all the time too. But and I also like knew people who utilized the staffing agency for years. Like their whole company
Right.
is built using the staff agency. So I did the same.
So
So
if
I know.
I go use the same one that you and Ken are using, does that make us like a part of I mean, we're not the good old boy club, right? But we can be like the business bestie girl club, right? Or something. And we can just, but
Yeah,
that's where you get it
absolutely.
from, right? It's like,
Yeah. Absolutely. You're paying for that peace of mind and stuff for sure. And yeah, so that's what I would recommend as a way to like ease into or like to ease your fears about, you know, like giving someone access, those kinds of things. And then
Right.
too, it's on you also to think strategically about things too. Like, does it make sense? Like even Ken has their own email addresses with my business, but we're even thinking about making general ones like info at QEN strategic, because that way, if in the future we hire someone, underneath Ken, we still have that common inbox. So you might want to think about those types of strategies too.
That's brilliant. Yeah, I like that. So this is so interesting to me and such a good conversation for me to be having today because I'm just at the point where I'm actually interviewing. Oh, I interviewed last week and had a VA get back with me. Maybe she's not a VA. She's actually a project manager, I should say. And so I'm just kind of right in the process of that, and I have a hard time letting go of that trust. But I'm learning to, and I also am a micromanager because I like things done, so I have to let go of that also. And I've been working on that for years, since my kids moved out, it's a lot easier to not do that. So we are going to be wrapping it up. Do you have anybody have any questions? Jeannie, do you want to share with us where you are in your journey? If you see any of this, would ever be something in your future?
Yeah, I have first, let me ask the question before I forget, which was like, Ken, you mentioned also though that, and Quinn's talking about the agency part, and Ken, you know, you can do the work on your own and you have your own contract. Is that accurate? Like obviously I understand what Quinn's saying, like when you're first getting into this, having that agency is very makes you feel safer. But what if we trust Ken just to work with her directly? Is there a contract that you have written up, Ken?
Because I've been for so long doing this more than 8 years, like working remotely and do the freelancing. I do have my own to make sure that um we're clear on what the expectation, what are the scope of works, what are the not included in the task that I'm gonna do. But I just want to clear that because I was under agency with Queen, that I cannot take on clients that are under that agency. So I have a contract with them, right? So those contracts have limitations what I can
I
take. So
see.
when I do project base, I have to make sure that they're not working with that agency because then that will be like a breach of contract that I have with
Got
them,
it.
right? So,
Hmm.
But we
but
could do
personally
it
for me,
without the agency, correct, Ken?
you can hire without the agency if you want.
I could
But
hire you without going through the agency then. But if I hired through the agency, I couldn't get you because you're already doing that through them.
um it actually depends. I think because right now I'm working part-time with Queen, but like I think it depends. I'm not sure if the agency put them like with the clients, but I know like they put like for full-time or part-time. I really don't know how they do it. But
Hmm.
but if you go through the agency, you go through the agency and they will find somebody suitable for, or they think that they interview because they already have all the information. And then they will give you the person to interview. So then you will know which one you want to hire for yourself. But if you do it on your own, then like you said, like some if you contact somebody with me, I know a lot of experienced one have already their processes, how they do it, like how to take in new clients if they have. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't hire a newbie because I think you have to give chance to people. I was a newbie myself before too. But when it comes to security and you feeling safe, I think either you go through agency like Quinn said, because then or people that refer you to that VA because then they already have experience with that VA and that VA is already experienced with working with people.
Okay, so are you currently taking on new clients?
Project based only.
So
Because
what does
like I don't also want to take a lot of clients or a lot of projects because I don't want to when I do work, and that's why I told you that there are networking that I don't attend anymore because it's in the time that I'm working with Queen and I'm focused on that. Like I think it really like I want to have a good rapport with my with whoever I'm working with. So I'm very this kind of person that if I'm working on this from this time to time, I'm working on that. Like right now, I was supposed to work with Quinn, but since we scheduled this before I got hired with Quinn, I explained it to her, and I'm honest, like, like if she told me that, oh, you have to cancel with Glenn, I would have canceled with you, but she gave
Right.
me the go signal, so that's why I'm here.
Well, and I appreciate both sides of that, because if you had said I need to cancel because I'm working, that wouldn't have bothered me a bit. I would have filled your spot. But because I appreciate your honesty, but I also appreciate you, Quinn, allowing the time off for her to come and do this. Now, so when you say project based, if I had one project I want you to work on, then you would maybe be available to discuss that, right?
Yeah, and I always make this very clear with whoever I'm gonna work or want to work with me, that I prefer if it's not like a it's not like a set time. So like for example, like if I'm gonna take on project base, I would prefer if it's like flexible time, that you just give me the deadline so then I can work on it, because I work with Queen, and from that time to that time, I don't want anybody taking that time. So if I work with you at a set time, then I have to set this time to that time, right? So I
Right.
prefer like flexible schedule
Well, and a
so that I
lot of
can
the
work on it
benefit,
on the weekend or like
right?
on the times that I'm working with Queen.
That's a big benefit to working for yourself, I think, and being able to work remote is you can do it from wherever and fit it in around important things or whatever else you have going on. Sure. Jeannie, you want to tell us a little bit about where you are in your business and if you see yourself using this?
Yeah, so I never thought I was going to have a business. That was not like in the plans. So, and especially online, because I wasn't even online and I wasn't even involved in social media whatsoever. It's interesting because I mean the whole purpose um of, well, I should say my brand leans more towards stillness as the portal into the things that I work with women around. So the social media stuff and being online was sort of like this, oh my God, this is like counter to what it is I teach. So I say all that because I've only been online for 1 year. And so at this point, I just need to do a lot of things on my own right now because I'm trying to figure out how things work. And oh, if you do this, then that happens. And oh, so there's a lot of this exploring stage that I'm at. But this is great information because at some point, I know that I'm going to figure out, okay, I don't want to do that piece anymore, like, and I want to be able to
Right.
delegate, but I don't know which of those pieces yet that I still want to explore and learn more about, and which of them I'm okay because I already know what they do. I know how it serves me, and then here it goes.
Okay.
So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm a little bit more on I'm doing everything right now because I want to know what happens.
Right. And I can see that this could serve you down the road just because of the kind of business that you have where you want to create the stillness and you want to evolve in that. And so I could see where you could, having somebody else do parts of this could really be helpful. But then I
Yes.
also want to say too that one of the things I've learned is that it can change so quickly. Once
Mhm.
it clicks and starts going, right? Quinn, you've probably seen this. It can just change really quickly. And I love the fact that you want to hands-on explore and know instead of just taking somebody's word for it and going with things. I've always been that way. When I have a brick and mortar store, I can do everything in that store and I can do it
Mhm.
really well. And I make sure all of my employees can do everything. And then I take whatever they're really good at and they love the most.
Mhm.
That's their specialty. That's what they do. But we can fill in for each other, And so it's important,
Yes.
I think, to know all of these things. It's your
Mhm.
business. You are ultimately the person responsible for its failure or success. And so you have to know all the ins and outs, how it works. So I think it's really,
Right.
ladies, this has been amazing. Ken, do you want to go ahead and drop the link to your lead magnet in the chat? And then people can access it there. And I really just appreciate this, Quinn. I want to reach out to you and let you know that if you're ever interested in coming on as a co-host, I do this as a side thing to my business. This isn't like my business. I just love networking. And I love for every woman to have the opportunity to have their voice and their business heard. So if you ever want to come on as a co-host and share your business, this is a great platform, I think, to do it. And while we don't have a ton of people in here right now, we do get upwards of 100 views on the replays. And if you share a lead magnet or wait for them to contact you, that stays as evergreen and is shared. I share with about 500,000 people. And so it's there and it's viable for people to reach out to. And just another input, if you're ever interested in that, please reach out and let me know.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thanks for letting me join today.
All right. Yeah, we sure have loved having you. Thank you again, Ken. You've done such a good job with this. I really appreciate it. And Jeannie, I will be talking to you later.
Thank you so much, Colleen, and thank you, Jeannie and Quinn, for attending this and giving me permission to do this. Like, because I was so excited doing this when I was like telling Quinn that, oh, I'm gonna have this co-hosting with Colleen. So yeah, thank you
You
so
did
much,
so good.
Colleen, and yeah, it's a good experience for my first time doing this.
Good job. Good job. All right, ladies, you have the best day.
You too. Thank you, ladies. Bye.